The rain tapped steadily against the tall courthouse windows, filling the quiet room with a soft, restless rhythm. People walked in and out of the hallway, holding folders and speaking in hushed voices. For most of them, this was just another legal appointment. But for Daniel Carter, it felt like the end of an entire life. He sat alone at a wooden table, staring at the divorce papers spread neatly in front of him. The black ink looked cold and final. One signature. That was all it would take to erase 3 years of marriage. His fingers tightened around the pen, but he didn't move. Memories kept interrupting his thoughts. The day he and Emma Carter had moved into their first apartment. The way she laughed when they tried cooking dinner together and burned everything. The quiet evenings when they sat on the couch talking about dreams for the future. Somewhere along the way, those dreams had turned into arguments. The last few months of their marriage had been full of silence and distance. Small disagreements turned into bitter fights. Eventually, neither of them knew how to fix what was broken. Then came the night everything ended. Harsh words, raised voices, a slammed door. Daniel had walked out and told himself he would never come back. The courthouse door creaked open. Daniel looked up automatically. Emma stepped inside. For a moment, everything seemed frozen. She looked thinner in the face, more tired than he remembered. Her hair was pulled back into a loose ponytail, and she wore a long gray coat that reached almost to her knees. Daniel stood slowly. "Emma," he said, his voice uncertain. She walked toward him calmly, her footsteps quiet against the floor. But as she got closer, something caught his attention. The shape beneath her coat. At first, he thought it was just the fabric shifting as she moved, but when she stopped near the table, the truth became impossible to ignore. Her stomach was clearly round. Not slightly, not subtly, pregnant. Daniel's eyes widened as shock spread across his face. "Emma?" he said, almost breathless. What is this?" Emma looked at him quietly for a moment, then she slowly unbuttoned her coat. The curve of her stomach was undeniable now. Daniel felt his heart pound against his chest. "You're pregnant?" he asked, struggling to process what he was seeing. Emma nodded once. Silence filled the space between them. Daniel's mind raced through the timeline. They had separated 8 months ago. His voice came out shaky. Is it mine?" Emma met his eyes, hurt flickering across her face. "You really think I'd come here today if it wasn't?" Daniel felt the weight of her words hit him like a storm. And suddenly, the divorce papers on the table didn't seem like the biggest decision of his life anymore. The room felt unbearably quiet after Emma's words. Daniel Carter stared at the divorce papers, but the words on the page had lost their meaning. His mind was somewhere else now, caught between shock, guilt, and 1,000 questions he didn't know how to ask. Across the table, Emma Carter rested one hand gently on her stomach. The small, protective gesture made Daniel's chest tighten. "You were really going to do this alone?" he asked softly. Emma gave a small, tired smile. "At first, I didn't think I had a choice," she said. Daniel looked up at her. "You always had a choice. You could have called me." Emma shook her head slightly. "The last time I tried to talk to you, Daniel, you said you were done listening. You said you didn't want to hear anything else from me." Her voice wasn't angry, just calm and honest. Daniel remembered that night clearly now. He had been furious, hurt, too proud to stay and talk. And now that moment felt like the biggest mistake of his life. He looked at her stomach again, trying to imagine the reality of it. A baby, his baby. "Why come here today then?" he asked quietly. Emma slid the divorce papers a little closer to him. "Because whether we're married or not," she said, "you deserve to know you're going to be a father." The word father echoed in Daniel's mind. For a long moment, he didn't move. Then he slowly picked up the pen. Emma watched silently, preparing herself for the sound of the signature that would officially end everything between them. But the sound never came. Instead, Daniel placed the pen back on the table. "I can't sign this," he said. Emma looked up, surprised. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, his voice heavy with emotion. "I spent months convincing myself our marriage was already over, that walking away was easier than fixing what we broke." He paused, looking directly at her. "But seeing you here today, realizing you've been carrying our child through all of this..." His voice softened. I don't want to be the man who walks away from his family. Emma blinked, clearly caught off guard. Daniel, things aren't magically fixed, she said carefully. I know, he replied, and I'm not asking for a miracle. I'm asking for a chance. Outside, the rain had started to slow. Daniel gently pushed the divorce papers aside. Not just to be a father, he added quietly, but maybe, if you're willing, to learn how to be your husband again. Emma looked at him for a long moment, her hand resting over the small life they had created together. For the first time in months, the future didn't feel completely broken.